When you think of the ERP systems for automotive industries, their needs are very different. So, what are the top 10 ERP systems for automotive companies in 2023? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So, let's dive in. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Gupta, and I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients when they are undertaking any of the ERP or digital transformation initiatives. We take them through the journey of selecting the appropriate software as well as taking them through the entire journey. So let's get back to today's topic, which is going to be the top 10 ERP systems for automotive companies in 2023. Before we look at the list, let's first define what is the automotive sector and which business models as well as the companies are going to be part of this. So in this particular case, we are looking at all of the stakeholders that are going to be part of your automotive ecosystem. That is going to be your OEMs, any of the manufacturers or suppliers, whether you talk about tier one, tier two, or anything and everything that supplies in the automotive verticals, because they have to comply with the OEMs requirements from the compliance perspective. So that's why this whole industry is going to have slightly different need in general. To compile this list, we look at several different factors. Number one is going to be the share for automotive companies, how successful the product is in these micro verticals, as well as we look at market share, community reviews, the cloud nativeness of the solution, the technology. So we are looking at many different factors to compile this list. Now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. Last year we had IFS, so just a little bit of change there. Oracle Cloud ERP is targeted for large automotive companies. These are going to be publicly traded, as well as the companies that are going to have entities in a lot of countries, more than 10 typically. So we are looking at $1 billion plus businesses. Those are probably going to be the right fit for Oracle Cloud ERP. The strengths for Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be, when you look at this large sector, they are typically going to require the best of breed applications that they are going to be integrating internally, just because they are going to have far deeper IT capabilities, and the COEs for these solutions, their needs are going to be very different. They might also be involved in the M&A cycle, and because of that, they require far more agility with respect to business model when they need to either carve out or merge any of the entities. And that's why sometimes the finance is separate from their operations. For operations, they might be using other best of breed applications, and then they are going to be integrating. There are always going to be pros and cons of each of the architecture, but depending upon your corporate strategy, you need to decide, okay, what is right fit for your company. The other strength for Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be that it is going to have the integrated HCM processes, but the HCM that Oracle has, that is designed more for service centric, white collar centric workers. So this is probably not as great fit for the automotive verticals in general, but at least it has some HCM processes that you can incorporate as part of your ERP. Along with, you have TMS and WMS that is incorporated as part of the ERP itself. So you are going to get that immersive embedded experience as opposed to utilizing third party app. But depending upon the architecture, in some architecture, the third party app is probably going to be more important. The weaknesses for Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be the automotive specific capabilities. Most likely, you are probably going to build the compliance, the S&OP processes that are going to be required for automotive verticals. For larger companies, it might be okay just because they might have far bigger IT budget and they have different needs. And that's why they might opt to build these capabilities on top of your horizontal solution. The other weakness for Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be that this is not necessarily designed for the small to mid-size businesses just because they are going to be on budget. They might not have as much maturity overall in building these capabilities. So there's a very high risk of failure for implementation. Having said that, Oracle Cloud ERP is still a very strong solution for automotive companies, and that's why it ranks at number 10 on our list. Now, number 9 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. Last year we had Oracle Cloud ERP. So minor change there. Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O has similar positioning as your Oracle Cloud ERP. It's designed for slightly larger companies. It's a horizontal solution, so you are not going to get the last mile capabilities that you are going to find on some of the other vertical solutions that we have on the list. But overall, the horizontal solutions are going to be slightly diverse in nature. They provide different benefits when you are going to be active in your M&A cycle, when you are going to require those financial governance capabilities. Sometimes you might want to sacrifice on operations depending upon your business model, business priorities, business objectives, as well as architecture is going to dictate whether these solutions are going to be good for you or not. The other strengths for Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is the TMS capabilities that are going to be embedded, and that could be handy because sometimes you are not going to get the same insights when the TMS is going to be separate. But again, depending upon your architectural goals in terms of what you are trying to do, some companies might like to utilize the dedicated TMS just because it's going to be easier to learn, easier to manage, easier for the departments to be able to work on those systems. So that's why they might be using best of breed TMS, WMS, as opposed to embedding that as part of ERP, which is always more challenging just because of the tight integration of the processes. The Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O does have a little leaner data model that they can provide on top of the horizontal solution. So you are going to get something out of it, but it's not going to be comparable to some of the vertical solutions that we have on the list. Weaknesses for Microsoft Dynamics F&O is that it's not really fit for the SMB companies because they will require a lot more expertise in developing these vertical capabilities on top of the horizontal solution. The last mile capabilities are going to be really lean as well. So you will have to either invest on the development and the customization, or you might require the add-on that companies may have developed. Now, the risk with these add-ons is going to be that you are relying on third party. So sometimes the quality of code may not be as great, but overall Microsoft Dynamics does have very strong marketplace and the ecosystem. So most likely you will find something that might work for this industry. But again, the question is going to be, when there are going to be issues, sometimes there might be conflict between the vendors. And if the quality of code is not as good, then you are just locked with that small vendor. You might not be able to move away with them. So those are some of the risks that you need to keep in mind. Now, the other weaknesses for Microsoft Dynamics is going to be, it's not really designed for SMB companies. SMB companies will struggle a lot just because of the size of the solution. It's slightly bigger for the SMB companies, and the last mile capabilities you need to build it yourself, as I said, and the MES is not integrated, so you will require a third party. But not very many solutions really have the MES integrated as part of the solution. And in automotive verticals, you are probably going to be needing MES, and sometimes you might also need the HCM processes. So those are going to be some of the cons. But having said that, Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is still a very strong solution for automotive companies, and that's why it ranks at number 9 on our list. Number 8 on our list is SAP S4HANA. Last year we had Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. SAP S/4HANA has very similar positioning as your Oracle ERP Cloud or your Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. SAP S/4HANA is handy for very large companies. These are going to be publicly traded companies, Fortune 100, Fortune 50. That's where SAP S/4HANA does wonders. It is probably one of the strongest solution for product-centric, MRP-centric industries just because of the power of HANA when you are going to have millions and millions of SKUs, and it's very common with automotive companies that they are going to have large assembly of SKUs, especially when you talk about the companies that are also going to be servicing along with producing. If you look at aftermarket, they might be carrying the cars of pretty much every single OEMs, and each car is probably going to have 40,000 components. So obviously, they are going to have the large number of SKUs, and some of these SKUs could have many layers of some assembly. So in general, automotive is a very unique beast in terms of the complexity of the products, the way it works. So that's where it could be really challenging. But SAP S/4HANA is very strong with these capabilities when you are going to look at the workload of your Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies. There are not very many systems that can really handle that kind of workload. Now, the other strength with SAP S/4HANA is going to be the best of breed pre-integrated solutions that you have as part of a SAP S/4HANA portfolio, which is going to be your SuccessFactors, Hybris, Calidus Cloud for CPQ. So you get a lot more overall in the SAP portfolio. And when you look at these large enterprise companies, they are probably going to require the best of breed solutions because the learning time is going to be far more if they kept everything inside one system, and the teams might not agree to use just one system. So sometimes there could be challenges and the power struggle inside the companies, and that's why these large companies typically require the best of breed offerings to be able to operate. The weaknesses for SAP S/4HANA is going to be that automotive specific capabilities are probably going to be provided using add-ons or the marketplace or through customization. Now, SAP ecosystem is not as vibrant as Microsoft, where you have tons and tons of solutions available as the add-ons, but SAP is picking up on that. So you might be able to find some solution, but that's not going to be part of your core offering, the horizontal offering that you are going to get. So either you need to build it or you need to manage with some of the add-ons. Now, it might be too big for smaller companies. In general, the SAP S/4HANA solution is really large in terms of its capabilities. So for smaller companies, it might not be the best fit, who might be limited on their budget. And in general, it requires larger IT department and the SAP COE that it is going to have. You need to have that, otherwise you will struggle with it. So most companies that are going to be using SAP S/4HANA are probably going to have large IT departments, SAP COE, as well as maturity in their department. Having said that, SAP S/4HANA is still a very strong solution, and that's why it ranks at number 8 on our list. Number 7 on our list is the solution called IFS. Last year we had SAP S/4HANA, so just some changes there. IFS is also a very large solution in general, and it specializes in 3 core areas, and that is going to be your field service, your asset management, as well as the financials. So it's a very unique solution in general. The companies that utilize IFS, they are probably going to require these best of breed capabilities, and sometimes they might be using it with some of the other solutions that we have on the list. For example, SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP. The field service component is really critical for some of the aftermarket and the MRO centric automotive companies because they are going to have very complex number of SKUs. The field service is going to be very involved as well, the way the handshake is going to work. So it gets fairly complicated overall in terms of the field service scheduling as well. And that's where IFS really shines. So the other strength for IFS is going to be the asset management capabilities that it has, and most automotive companies are going to require and going to be tracking different assets. So that's super critical for automotive companies too. And the other strength for IFS is the cloud native UI as well as UX. It's not as legacy as some of the other platforms that we have on the list, but for the most part, the IFS is going to have far superior experience from the UI as well as from the UX perspective. Now, the weakness for IFS is the limited manufacturing capabilities. Not really designed for the manufacturing. So if you are very deep into manufacturing, let's say if 80% of your business model is manufacturing, 20% is field service, then IFS may not be the best fit when you are going to require constraint based manufacturing capabilities or the shop floor scheduling, very strong shop floor scheduling capabilities. That's where IFS is probably not the best. Then the automotive centric supplier collaboration features are probably not going to be as great fit with IFS as well. The automotive specific KPI as well as processes are going to be fairly limiting too. Having said that, IFS is still a very strong solution for automotive companies in 2023, and that's why it ranks at number 7 on our list. Now, number 6 on our list is the solution called Apicor Kinetic. Last year also we had Apicor Kinetic, so no changes there. Now, Apicor Kinetic is the mid-market solution and it targets the mixed mode manufacturing companies. And Apicor Kinetic in general is very strong with the diverse business model in the manufacturing space, and they have the last mile automotive capabilities as well. The strength for Apicor Kinetic is going to be the pre-integrated MES, and you can buy that MES either with or without Kinetic, and they have acquired new cloud native capabilities from the MES perspective when you are going to be integrating with some of the devices on the shop floor. So now Apicor has that option as well. The other strength for Apicor Kinetic is going to be the automotive specific capabilities like PPAP compliance support, and that PPAP could be very involved in general. If the solution is not going to support this by default, then the development could be very challenging. There could be implementation risk because we are looking at this compliance at the line level. So it's not as easy to build on top of your horizontal solution. The other strength for Apicor Kinetic is that it has slightly superior support for project-based manufacturing that you might not find in other mixed mode manufacturing products that we have on this list. So that's where it also shines. Now, the weakness for Apicor Kinetic is going to be that it might struggle with companies with complex MRP runs as well as the field service capabilities. Typically, companies used an add-on in the Apicor ecosystem for field service capabilities. They have recently acquired that add-on, but typically when the companies acquire any sort of capabilities, initially there are going to be challenges with the add-on. The teams are going to be completely separate. The support model is going to be completely separate. So it's not going to be as immersive experience in general. I don't know how long it is going to take for them to really merge these capabilities, but as of today, the field service capabilities might be a challenge with Apicor. And if you're really strong in that area, then Apicor Kinetic may not be the best fit. The same thing goes for the BOM data integrity. The way the BOMs are designed for Apicor Kinetic, they don't have as strong integrity overall from the data perspective, because originally Apicor Kinetic was created for more of the assembly-centric shops, and they didn't require that correlation between your labor and materials. So the correlation is going to be there, but it's just not going to be as tight. So you might have downstream challenges in terms of the data integrity and scheduling. Sometimes you might know this and sometimes you might not, and you might uncover all of these issues and you might not know why they are happening, and that could be because of the data integrity. So just pay attention to how their BOMs are structured and if that is going to be right fit for your business model. Having said that, Apicor Kinetic is still a very strong product for automotive companies in 2023, and that's why it ranks at number 6 on our list. Now, number 5 on our list is IQMS. Last year also we had IQMS. IQMS is also a mid-market product targeted for the companies in primarily Honda ecosystem. They have very strong capabilities for Honda that you are not going to find in any of the horizontal solutions, but even not in the automotive centric solution. And some of these ecosystems have very unique compliance forecasting requirements. So it gets very deep and detailed. And that's why sometimes you might require those capabilities built as part of the solution. Otherwise, you have a risk of the implementation failure. So IQMS does have that. The strength for IQMS is going to be the deep capabilities for automotive companies out of the box, including if you look at the MMOG, LE, APQP, Gauge RNR, PPAP compliance, quality, SPC on the shop floor. Those are some of the capabilities that are going to be harder to find with some of the other solutions. The weaknesses for IQMS is going to be the legacy interface. The technology is not as modern. The community, the momentum is just not there in that ecosystem anymore. The talent is going to be very limited as well. Having said that, IQMS is still a very strong solution for automotive companies, and that's why it ranks at number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite Industrial. Last year also it had the same ranking, so no changes there. Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is a mid-market manufacturing, hybrid manufacturing product similar to Epicor Kinetic. The strength for Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is the mixed mode manufacturing with the strong field service capabilities. So that's where the real differentiation is between Epicor Kinetic and Infor Cloud Suite Industrial. If you are exploring the manufacturing centric product for automotive verticals, and these two are probably going to be the leading products in this space, especially in the SMB space. The Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is able to support the complex MRP runs. The bombs are designed for automotive centric OEMs. It has very deep capabilities for OEMs. It is going to support all of those business models, whether you are going to be OEM, or you are going to be a service provider, or you are going to be an aftermarket companies. Typically, the depth of capabilities that you are going to get with Infor Cloud Suite Industrial, you might not be able to find with any other products. Now, the challenge with Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is that if you are a distribution centric shop, then you probably could have problem because the planning is very manufacturing centric. So it's not really designed for channel centric businesses. It's not designed for distribution centric businesses, as well as the project manufacturing is probably going to be a challenge when you look at the WBS based planning, scheduling. If you are going to be very project based shop, then probably this is not going to be a great solution. And the other challenges with Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is the legacy UI and UX. So those are going to be some of the challenges. But having said that, Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is still a very strong product for automotive companies, and that's why it ranks at number 4 on our list. Now, number 3 on our list is the solution called Plex. In 2022 as well, we had Plex, so no changes there. Plex targets companies in Toyota ecosystem. Traditionally, that's what was their sweet spot, but now they have developed the Ford specific capabilities as well. The advantage with Plex is that it is going to be very MES friendly, and a lot of automotive companies are going to require deep shop floor capabilities. And if you are big into that, if you are big into Industry 4.0, then Plex could be your solution. The other advantage with Plex is that the HCM processes, and typically in the automotive patches, you are going to require the certification, the compliance at the skill level, and you need to use those resources to be able to schedule. And this is a very unique problem for automotive centric verticals, and that's why the HCM processes need to be embedded as part of your shop floor processes. Now, most horizontal solution might struggle with that. Plex has that inbuilt. The challenges with Plex is going to be the mixed mode manufacturing. It can support a lot of different manufacturing business models, but not everything. So that's where, let's say if you have a very diverse model, even inside manufacturing, then it could be challenging with Plex. Now, the field service capabilities are going to be limiting. It's not as diverse product. So if you are active in M&A, that's where you probably need to think whether you can support all of the business models that you might be forecasting for next 3, 5, 10 years. So that's where these focused solutions might struggle, such as Plex. Having said that, Plex is still a very strong solution, and that's why it ranks at number 3 on our list. Now, number 2 on our list is the solution called Infor LN. Last year also we had Infor LN at this spot, so no changes there. Infor LN is the bigger product from Infor, and it targets companies that are going to have more than $250 million in revenue, and up to $2 to $3 billion is their sweet spot. The strength with Infor LN is going to be, it's going to be the most comprehensive manufacturing and distribution solution that you're going to find. So the limitations that you have, let's say with Infor CSI product, those are not going to be there with Infor LN product. It's slightly bigger in size. It can handle far bigger workloads in general, just because of the way the product is designed. It's going to have slightly more advanced feature. For example, when you are going to be looking at these long lead products that are going to require WBS based scheduling, or that are going to have very long lead time in general in terms of the planning and scheduling, that's where Infor LN really shines. It is going to have capabilities such as your handling units, international trade compliance. Some of these capabilities are probably going to be missing in those smaller products because they are not designed for the global companies, and those are going to be there with Infor LN. In general, the bombs are very friendly with Infor LN for complex manufacturing shops. So manufacturing companies are going to love it, the kind of flexibility that you are going to get with Infor products. Now, the Honda specific functionality is going to be there with Infor LN, but it might struggle with some of the other patches, such as your Toyota, Ford. Those specific functionality might not be there with Infor LN because traditionally it has been successful in the Honda ecosystem. That's why they have the last mile capabilities for that, but not for the other ecosystems. The weakness for Infor LN is that it has the UI UX is still not modern, even though they have the cloud version, but the UI and UX are not going to be as great. The ecosystem and talent base is very limiting as well. In general, it's very hard to find talent for those products. So primarily you are relying on Infor to provide the support as well as professional services. And if you're not happy with that, then you might not have many options in the market that can support with the product. And it's not going to be as diverse as some of the other horizontal solutions that we have in the market. Having said that, Infor LN is one of the strongest automotive product, and that's why it ranks at number 2 on our. Now, number 1 on our list is QAD, and QAD maintains the same rank as last year. QAD targets slightly larger automotive-centric companies, and it's very comparable to your Infor LN Flex overall in terms of the market penetration in the automotive verticals. At least the strength for QAD is going to be that it is probably going to have the richest automotive capabilities, especially from the S&OP perspective. And in general, the forecasting, the planning is very, very, very involved in QAD. And you need to have tightly integrated processes even with your vendors, because they might not be able to forecast. And if they delay, then you are probably going to have delay in your production processes as well. So that's why that vendor collaboration piece is very tight. S&OP piece is very tight in the automotive verticals. And that's where QAD really shines in its capabilities. It is supply chain focused, so most supply chain professionals are probably going to love this. Now, the weaknesses for QAD is going to be the backend technology, maybe legacy. So even though it has very modern UI UX, the front end layer is amazing, but the backend is still legacy with technologies. So that's why you are not going to find as many partners who might be able to support the technology. The talent and ecosystem is not going to be there. So you are probably going to have similar challenges as some of the other products that are legacy. QAD is not as diverse either. So if you're looking for pure play focused solution for automotive, QAD is great, but it might not be able to support all of different business models, especially if you are going to be active in your M&A cycle. Having said that, QAD is still one of the strongest automotive product for 2023, and that's why it ranks at number 1 on our. Now, if you liked this insight, we are going to include an article that is going to have far deeper analysis, so you might want to check that. This podcast is also available in the audio format on Google, Spotify, as well as Apple. So hit the subscribe button there, and we publish these videos on a weekly basis. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you don't want to miss them. And if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2023, it covers a lot of these lists as well as the trends. So you might want to check that out. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.